So I'm sitting here with longtime friend Jack Vu. We've known each other for over 10 years now.
Yeah, 11, 12 years, something like that, 2010?
Yeah, 2010. Jack is a entrepreneur, real estate investor.
Yep.
He just recently bought his second house,
Yep.
which was a house hack. Actually has 3 units on it. We'll get into that soon. Want to kind of dive into Jack's story. Jack also helps me with social media. He's very knowledgeable with marketing, social media, SEO, website design. Great photographer. We've worked together several times on weddings and stuff. Just creative in general. So thanks for sitting down and hanging out.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the intro and the invite. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
man.
Cool. So, tell us a little about your real estate journey first.
Yeah, I mean, I started the real conventional route, 2018, bought a home of what I could afford. At the time, it was like, I got approved for 190, and I was like, all right, well, let's shop around, see what we can find. And found a home, locked it up. It was a fixer-upper. Mm-hmm. Me and the wife worked on it, lived in it. It's kind of a live and flip. We didn't really flip it, but, live and rehab. Mm-hmm. Which is fun, no kids and no dog at the time. We could totally do that, right? So It was great. And so we lived in that home for, up until this last year. And we loved it. We fixed it up to where we wanted to get it to, did the backyard landscape, new floors, rehab the bathrooms. Just DIY'd it all with YouTube, right? And so that's where we're at. And I was like, I know I want to get into different investing vehicles. And I just didn't know, especially with real estate, I wasn't aware, where to go. And so when the opportunity came up with your class, I was like, dude, let's learn about real estate investing. So, yeah.
Cool. So have you done remodel before?
Nah, I mean, it's all just, just all DIY YouTube. And we just learned some carpentry work, just the basic stuff. Nothing super crazy, but replacing vanities and basic plumbing, pretty basic stuff, I would say. Nothing no tearing out walls or, doing new plumbing or anything like that. But yeah, it was a great property. It was a 2-2. It's a 2-2. Knowing what I know now, the master's pretty large. That could have been its own unit to rent out, right?
Okay. So you could have house hacked
I could have house hacked that, and then lived in the one, the one bath, and then live in the main living space, and then house hacked that. But we would have had a small, master bedroom, our master. But so it would have. I mean, that would have definitely paid for the mortgage. Mortgage is super cheap on that.
Yeah. So you could still do it, right?
Totally.
You could go back and convert it into 2 units if you wanted.
But yeah, we have some long-term renters in there. It's a big family. It's a family of 5, so they're renting that out. We're happy with where it's at right now. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah. So bought that house, and you said you took my real estate investing class.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why did you take the class, and what did you learn in the class?
Yeah, I mean that year for me, I was learning about trading and other investments, and I knew that. Of course, long term, I want to own more properties. Mm-hmm. I saw that you're a successful real estate investor here, so I was like, yes, definitely a lot I can learn, and we're friends. So I'm like, let's talk, and it was awesome, man. I love just the practical homework steps, and that's really what brought me to finding out what I could qualify for, all that stuff, and the house hacking, man, that, because that's your story and your journey, and that just opened up a whole new world to me. So I was like, ideally, if we could find a home that we could, a new primary that had a couple units to rent out, house hack, then that would be our ideal situation, right? Yeah. And so then we're looking, got my realtor, got my lender. He actually, I think I pulled up this property. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I found it, and I was like, yo, Ben, let me, his name's Ben too, but I was like, yo, let me look at this property. And it was just exactly what we're looking for, right? We could live. It was a 3-2, and the previous owners converted the garage into an ADU. So it was a 4-3 essentially, right? Not officially permitted yet until we closed. But what the previous owners did is that master has its own entrance and the ADU has its own entrance. It's a corner lot, so it has actually 4 entrances on the home.
Oh, wow.
The previous owners rented the master bedroom out as a short-term rental, Airbnb'd it, and then the garage was its own unit that we could do like midterm, long-term rentals, and so, and then we could live in the the 2-1 essentially, the main living space, and that was that was the perfect situation for us because we're like we want a new primary. It's bigger, more open, like just open space. It's just a square footage a lot bigger than our old home, so yeah, so just a perfect fit. And so when I found that, after doing your class and learning about house hacking, and I'm like, dude, this could take care of the mortgage. We could potentially cash flow a little bit, and yeah, we're just stoked on it. So locked it up, and then we're in a 4-month escrow. So that was crazy.
4-month escrow.
Yeah.
What took so long?
Appraisers were short, I guess apparently here, and there's not a lot of appraisers, so we paid almost double of what an appraiser would cost to get an appraiser out there. Yeah, get it quicker out there, like on our timeline. And then when the appraisal
expedite it, right?
it was crazy. And then when it came way undervalued. So we agreed at $450, and buyer pays closing costs. The appraisal came in at $390. Insane.
Dang.
And so my realtor's like, hey, this is I've worked with this guy before. He's like the most conservative appraiser out there. A lot of the times we've had to go to a different lender and just get it reappraised and reapproved. And so that's what we did. We got approved with a different lender, got another new appraisal, and then that came into value, and the rest is history. So it just took a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes, you know. It's there's going to be challenges and problems you got to solve, and you get tested in buying real estate. There's a whole element of perseverance and resilience to get deals done, especially good deals. Oftentimes, good deals have challenges.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get frustrated and want to give up, but once you get through that, on the other side of it, you've just landed a really good deal.
Yeah.
So I want to hear more about how that property cash flows. Like how much do you make in rent? How, long term or short term? Like, what does that look like?
So part of the agreement was that the sellers were gonna leave the furnishings for the Airbnb unit, the master, and the furnishings in the ADU, which we didn't really have much in the ADU, but the Airbnb unit was ready to go right away. So we listed it and we listed it just low to kind of get some rentals, some renters in. So we closed on March 8th, and we got, it is April. So we have, a couple months of rental on that. Numbers wise, we are looking at, for the last month, $1,300. So our mortgage is around $2,700 with tax, insurance, all that stuff. And so that is roughly around $1,300 what we're gonna take home from that after, paying the city, all that stuff.
Yeah. TOT tax and
right, and property manager. We got a property manager right away because we're like, we got a newborn, we got a dog. We're not trying to like go in there and clean every day, right? So that knowing like that was a great success. So we're like, cool, we're getting like April, we were rented out. I think there's only 4 days that we had vacancy. So our vacancy rate was like 90%. 10% vacancy, which is amazing for that. And even in March, as soon as we got it, we closed on the 8th, and we rented out for most of March as well.
Yeah.
So which is dope. The ADU. I was working on furnishing it out. My goal was like, all right, let's furnish it and let's get it ready. So we fully got furnished and ready and listed on Airbnb and Furnish Finder on the 14th of April. And it's dope. We listed it, and the very next day we got an inquiry from Airbnb. This dude wants to rent it out. He's a engineer coming up here for work, checking things out. Got to rent it out, and we rented that for $1,500. Yeah, so
you're getting about $2,800 a month.
Yeah, so
1,300 plus 1,500, 2,800.
yeah, so basically it'll cover cover the mortgage and maybe get a couple $100 of cash flow. So that's dope. And so yeah, man. So that once
That's amazing. You're saving your mortgage. What you said,
2,700, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you have people paying your mortgage,
yeah,
and and you're essentially living for free. You're saving $2,700 a month.
yeah, it's huge.
That's big.
That's major. It's cool because now the proof of concept is done. You know, it's
Yeah.
like because initially going into it, I'm like, oh man, is this gonna work? Like, is Airbnb gonna cover it? Are we gonna get renters in the midterm rental?
Right.
Are we gonna find working professionals? All these different things. And now that I know and it's listed, it's like, dang, it's all right. Like, we're good. We can coast. We know that it's working. So it gets me excited for the next properties that.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Well, speaking of that, what's next?
Man, my goal this year would be do a BRRRR. I would love to do a BRRRR this year. Get into wholesaling, so that's my next thing. I should be closing a deal pretty soon with that with my mom's property, so I'm stoked about that. I mean, just buying and holding as much as I can, and so yeah, just following your footsteps, bro. So
Yeah, I think that's just a wise way to start. With house hacking, house hacking being like the primary way to just like get in the game.
Right.
It's the easiest, most approachable way to get in with the lowest down payment.
Right.
Having anywhere from 3 to 5% down.
Right.
Very easy. And then you're also learning how to be a landlord or a property manager. You
Right.
start renting out part of it, and you
Right.
start to understand like finding a tenant, what that looks like, or maybe doing an Airbnb, learning that whole business.
Right.
So I think it's such a learning process. And then when you start seeing those checks come in,
Yeah.
and you realize, wait a minute, like after you get it set up, you start to think like, I didn't do any work that month, and I'm making money or saving money, which is making money.
Yeah.
And then that light bulb goes off, and you're like, wow, like, what if we did this again?
Yeah.
And then if you do it again, move into a new home, your previous home becomes a pure rental if you keep it.
Right.
And so you're collecting money there, and you're like, wow, I'm making checks there. And then your new house, you're getting checks. Right. And then you start thinking, wow, like this is scalable.
Totally.
And then that's where like I was like, whoa, I want to try flipping a house. You start to challenge yourself a little bit more, and like, hey, if I can do this, maybe I can do that. You start flipping, and then you do a BRRRR, that turns out good, and you just keep going and keep trying new things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome, man, that you want to push yourself with real estate.
Yeah, it was great, man. So I love that entry to get into real estate investing, of getting that proof of concept down, and then being like, I could do this. If I wanted to just stay at this, like buy every 2 years, get into a new home every 2 years and just collect properties that way, that's a great way to go as well.
Yeah.
But I want to get more quicker. So
that's, you've the house hack method model is kind of foundational, but then if you want to speed it up and grow quicker, you start to use other people's money,
right.
hard money.
Right.
That's the scaling.
Right.
And so it sounds like you're deep diving in, like learning more, giving you more options, more tools in your tool belt, so you can own more real estate, which is the goal. I appreciate you and just talking to you, and it's just awesome to see like your journey.
Thanks, man.
Seeing you actually take what you're learning and applying it. That's the deal. Is like, hey, like it doesn't work to just read books. Like, don't go out and read 10 books and do nothing. Like, read one book and like do exactly what it says. Like, really action. Dive in deep to like one thing.
Yeah.
And so you're doing that, and it's really cool to see that's paying off. You're growing, you're expanding. So thanks for sitting down and talking to me and just sharing with our audience just what's possible. If you like this content, what do we do, Jack?
Like, subscribe, turn on my notification bell, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. See you guys.